Every time I passed a grade in elementary school, Dad would say,
Brought you a dumbbell.
"Come on,
Come on, you can do it.
everybody has their own process. Everybody has to go through this differently.
It's always eggs. You
The
gotta eat
solution is eggs.
It's eggs.
They see me on Wednesday, say, okay, but I'm only gonna start Monday. No, you should start yesterday.
Yeah.
First time I trained, that feel, I'm still hooked on it.
I'm a dick. I'm a dick. Like I don't need.
Maybe I need to change
I
something.
think there's no better lesson than losing money.
I'm also a person,
Yeah.
like everybody else. You don't know the challenges I've been through. You're the only person who's responsible of everything that you do.
Even if you're not sure if it's right, just do it, and then you'll know how you feel about it, and then that will help motivate you to make a decision for the next one.
I need to do something to help people because no child should grow up watching their parents suffer like that.
You're gonna go anyways, so at least go the way you want. As
got it.
close as doing the things that you want to do. We've had someone here the whole time watching us. My name is Steph, and this is the Dead Man Walking Podcast. My guest today is Mauro Simonetti. He's the CEO and founder of a company called Evolve, and their mission is to educate people on what it takes to really be healthy. If you want to support the show, it's really easy. All you have to do is hit subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the DMW Podcast. And that's it. So enjoy the show. Peace.
I love the way you did this, man.
Thanks, man.
Good for you, dude.
You tell me when you're ready. Everything is good to go.
Okay, I think we're ready. We're good.
You guys are good? That's it. So welcome everybody to the show. I have a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. I'd like to say probably at least 10 years.
Oh yeah, if not more actually. Probably 12 now.
Something along those lines. It's definitely hit the double digits. And I've been telling him a million times that he's got to come on the show. I've been bothering him. You got to come on. You got to come on. You got to come on. And then finally, I convinced him to say yes, and he's here. And I'm really happy that you made it here. I know it's a pain to park, you know, but I'm super excited to have you on the show because I know I learned a lot being a client of yours for like the last 10 to 12 years. And we've always had amazing conversations in our sessions, apart from all the stuff we've done together.
Always, yeah.
So that was something that I felt, wouldn't it be great if somebody would actually hear some of the stuff we're saying to each other?
Absolutely. Our appointments should be like 3 hours long.
Yeah,
minimum.
exactly. I'm always 5 minutes late, and then I end up taking like 10 more minutes after.
It's amazing.
But definitely, I'm super excited for you to be here and to tell us about, one, you know, just all the things you've done, all the things you are planning on doing right now, and just like a lot of this vision that you have of where you want to bring this company, because there's so many layers with you, dude. Like it's really fun. So you know, this is Mauro Simonetti. I'm gonna do an intro anyways. I always do an intro to it, but I just want to say thanks again for being here, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, man, of course. First of all, thanks for having me here. It's definitely a pleasure, honestly. Like you said, it's amazing the conversations we have. So for me, it was an easy decision to do this here with you today. The only thing that wasn't easy, like you said, was the parking and the 50,000 new one ways that are out there. But regardless, it's worth to be here with you. Okay, so that's the first thing. So my God, like the question's quite loaded.
Yeah, I don't know if I asked you a specific one, but I mean, what are you really excited about right now? Because I know you're always working on a lot of things, and we'll start with the present because I think that's the most important thing.
Gotcha.
It's like, what's important to you right now, and why is this important for you?
Okay, oh my God, there's quite a few things for sure, but ultimately, the thing that's always the most important to me is, aside from the well-being of my family, and my friends, my clients, and stuff like that, but ultimately, what I want to see is just a better future in terms of health and what we do in terms of health. I think there's a big part of this industry that what I do for a living is mostly preventive.
Yeah.
And it should be looked at more seriously, I'm going to say, in this province, just because we're one of the two provinces where naturopathy is actually not recognized.
Okay.
So eventually it's something that I think most of us would like to see, is that we're more recognized like the rest of the other provinces.
Yeah.
So the one example I could give you is that recognized in the sense that there's orders across the other provinces of the country.
Okay.
So you have to take like a science degree. You actually get a bachelor's in science before you go into naturopathy school.
Okay.
So then you got to pass your exam at the order. That's the type of thing, and they become naturopathic doctors. Whereas here we have associations because we're not recognized through an order. Now, from my end, I could tell you the way everything started for me is mostly because of, I mean, I have been an athlete my whole life.
Yeah, you used to play hockey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Right?
played hockey. I worked in hockey with some. I was even in juniors, junior majors, junior AAA. So I mean, there's a huge passion of hockey inside of me for sure. But I played some soccer. I have 2 gold medals in kickboxing.
Oh yeah, I didn't know
Yeah,
you kickbox.
yeah.
So this
So
whole time you were able to kick my ass every time I said something stupid. I just thought you were a naturopath, chill guy.
chill for sure, chill for sure. So, yeah. So like due to that fact and growing up, always got inspired by people like Arnold,
Yeah.
Sly. Uh, I mean, I grew up in the golden era of bodybuilding, so like I watched these guys as a kid, and even my dad's a muscular
Well, I
was a
remember you
muscular
telling me
guy.
this. Your
Yeah.
dad was athletic. It kind of, but there was also the other side too, where your mom was like the opposite spectrum, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. And that was kind of like I remember you telling me that once. That had an impact too. You had kind of like this positive outlook of what physical health can look like, but
Yep.
also a completely different.
We had them
Like,
both. Sorry,
yeah,
had them both in the house.
Yeah.
So and literally where I was going was there. So like yes, there was that inspiration, and I had the fact that I was an athlete my whole life, and I had so much information in my head because I was reading things all the time. Just because it's such a huge passion of mine. So when I used to look at that and the physicality, I used to say, man, I want to look like those guys.
Yeah.
Now growing older, you figure, okay, I don't need to actually look like those guys completely. I never took any steroids or anything like that. But the reality of it is that it brought me to what I do today. And not only because I wanted to help other athletes achieve athletic development that helps them in their sport, and maybe help them prevent injury as much as possible, because that's what had stopped me from playing hockey was an injury.
I would say, what was it that stopped you with hockey?
It was in my right ankle.
Okay.
Yeah, so putting a skate on my right ankle is practically impossible these days. It hurts a lot. So that's a big part of it. And the fact that seeing my mom ill my whole life was, she's probably a very big key in my inspiration. The woman is a tank, man. What she's been through, and yet you see her, she's always smiling, she's always happy.
Yeah.
So that says a lot about the type of person that she is too.
But what was it about that? Because sometimes it does a few things, right? Like when you see someone either not doing well or doing well, it can either inspire you or kind of run away from it. What was it about seeing your mom like that made you look at that situation and kind of open your eyes? Was there a certain moment? Was there what? Okay.
Yeah, I like that question a lot, actually. So I mean, growing up, there was primarily 2 things that I noticed. Number one, the first thing that I said to myself is, like I need to do something to help people, because no child should grow up watching their parents suffer like that.
Yeah.
It's not right. It's not cool. And there are other solutions to making things better. And my mom is living proof, because I helped her immensely. I mean, my mom's cardiologist is one individual who literally told my mom, had you not done what you did in terms of losing weight and doing things a little bit better, when she went in ambulatory shock in 2015, when she had to do heart surgery, he says, you would have never made it. So he says, your son literally saved your life. So that's cool that it comes from a cardiologist too, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because it kind of confirms something maybe that you always kind of knew and you've been practicing it. And then there's always a bit of that clash of like what medicine is saying and then what other alternative options are, where it's like there's this clash, but really it doesn't need to be a clash. They should be working more and more together. Exactly. So it's like him helping her on that operation is what modern medicine does. But at the same time, with all the stuff that you've been working with your mom, had that not happened, you know what I mean? Like all those things combined. Exactly.
So it comes back to the prevention part. So, and that's why we want to work in tandem, especially to listen, we need medicine. It's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody's going to say we don't need surgeons. You get into a car accident and you need an emergency surgery to save your life. There's nothing I can do for you. You need these.
There's no push-up. There is no fucking eggs that's gonna help you, right?
That's it. That's what it is, right? So
it's always eggs. It's always eggs. You gotta
the
eat
solution
eggs.
is eggs.
Eat eggs.
Eat eggs were good. Exactly. So there's no pouring of eggs that I can help you with in terms of getting that surgery. So that's what I mean. But when it comes to taking certain things that maybe we don't have to long term, where we could come in and make some change, help changes, well, then you won't need certain things. And that's one thing that I had told my mom when I was 14 too. And I remember doing homework. I think I was doing math homework, and my parents came back from the doctor, and the first thing I hear my mom say is like, I had to add another medicine. I'm like, but shouldn't your doctor be helping you get off
Off.
these
Yeah.
medications? Why are you adding more and more? So
Yeah.
one is leading to another, to another, to another. So I'm like, and I was 14, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to
Yeah.
me. So I was able to help make some changes for her where she didn't need as many anymore. So her doctor kept removing. It's like, look, keep doing what you're doing. Your son is clearly helping you. You don't need this one anymore. You don't need this one anymore. So you also get healthier when you don't need
Yeah.
so many medications to put in your body,
It's
right?
normal. Well, it's telling you something. That means your body's doing something now
Yeah,
that doesn't require this assistance anymore.
you got it exactly. And of course, you always do that in the hands of a doc, right? But my job is to teach her to do things better.
Yeah.
So that's what we do, and the rest we leave the doc take care of the rest.
Yeah.
But that's where we should be working in tandem. Even like when you look at the healthcare system today, docs are overwhelmed, man.
Yeah. There's a lot of work on their table, and
It's nuts.
how could they really look into someone's specific scenario? It tends to be a little more on generalities. Like in general, most people feel this, so this is what you should take. But
You
you
got
don't
it.
have the time to really dive into the person's
They have
actual
7 minutes.
lifestyle. Exactly.
7 minutes per patient. So how much help can you get, right? So like we would love to be able to help these docs alleviate. They're getting swarmed with a lot of insulin resistance issues. So
Yeah.
like what happens is that if you have a lot of like preconditions and you catch a cold, well, there's a chance that your
It's gonna affect
situation
you
is a
really
little
badly.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you end up in the hospital, but technically all you needed was a medication, but you're taking space. Had you taken better care of yourself, maybe you wouldn't have ended up there to take that space.
Health. I find it's funny because health. People will make things very complicated and of how preventative. It's meant to kind of complicate things. But I always like going in one sense where it's another thing, which is like finance. If you're making money, as an example. I remember my
Right.
dad just told me this all the time. He's like, if you're making $100, just take $10 and put it on the side.
Right.
Just take $10 every day. Just if you make 100, take 10 and just put it on the side because you never know when it's gonna be a rainy day. It was
Right.
always the same line, and it's so simple.
Old school talk.
It's just an old school idea of just know that things won't always be good forever, and that a bad time will
Things
come,
can happen.
and things will happen. It's
Yep.
not a question can. It will. All of us have a body that will decompose at a certain. No matter how well we take care of it,
Well said.
age will come into play. So if you don't do a lot of the things to help, either financially or just be cognizant of a bad day coming, not in a negative point of view,
Yeah.
but understanding that
Prevention
is
again.
reality. It's a prevention, right? From a financial standpoint.
Love it.
It's the same thing with health.
Yep.
It's the same thing that if you smoke, like inevitably, the tax bill's coming on that smoking. Like it's
It adds
natural.
up.
It adds up.
Yep.
You don't feel it now at 18. You won't feel it maybe at 25. But at 65, all that 40 years or 50 years of smoking, it's going to come back.
got it.
It's just normal.
It's like wear and tear.
It's wear and tear. If you've always spent on a credit card and you never had any money, like one day that bill has to be paid. And when it's not, what's going to happen? They're going to come and take something from you that is more valuable to pay that bill.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with your health. So that's why I found coming to you, I had started learning a lot more about what was unhealthy for me, what was healthy for me, but then also of how there is a mental aspect to it as well. And I think there's a lot of things that we
And you
tie.
achieved some solid stuff, man. I really like what, even for my clients to hear what you have to say about your journey would be amazing.
Well, but that's what it is that. But a lot of the stuff came in through our conversations of just understanding that a lot of them are internal decisions that you make, and then you kind of either idolize this decision you make or you value it too much. But you have to put things into question of like, maybe this thing that I'm doing isn't so good for me anymore, and I need to try something different because I'm not feeling well.
Yeah.
I remember like with the food, I remember how much like rice and breads and sugars. I didn't realize how much I was eating. And then when we had conversations and over time, I cut out things that I just realized they weren't
Just
good
make
for
better
me.
sense
Just
of it.
being more sensitive to it, like understanding that this is actually having an impact and I don't need to keep doing this. That's
Correct.
the follow-up is now that I know that this hurts me, how stupid am I to keep doing this? Like that's the thing is when you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
But now that you do know, to keep doing it is
Yeah.
now you have to be accountable for the decision you made because now you know.
You know better.
Exactly.
And
I
that's in
found-
anything. You know that if you go through a red light with a car,
your chances of getting hit by an oncoming car is fucking high.
There you
You
go.
know what I mean? Or
Same
that ticket
concept.
or whatever. Know what you're walking into. And I think the information that, or what I like about you is you're constantly helping people be better informed.
Yep.
And then to make their own decisions.
It's important.
You do.
I can't force
webinars.
people.
Yeah, yeah. But no one could force anybody. I realize no matter what anyone says,
That's right.
you cannot force anyone to do anything. But what I love about you is that you walk in, everyone is kind of welcome to it. You don't shun anybody in whatever situation, but you're also there to inform through webinars, through speaking engagements, through communities, and you're building this really. How many years is it you've been doing this now?
14ish. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's fucking, you're getting closer to the 20-year mark of like 15 to 20-year mark of just helping people.
14 professionally, but my whole life.
Exactly.
Since I was a kid on myself, technically, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, what I was going to say is, how did you finally have enough belief in yourself to say, I'm helping my mom and I like doing this, but now I want to help people? And because it's a different game.
Yep.
Because now I'm going into a business that has a good value system and all this stuff, but how do I keep it that way and not get caught up in a business world and still kind of keep that side of you that was the kid that was trying to help his mom?
Well, there's the key thing you just said. So for me, it's a vocation. So every day, vocationally, I just try to help as many people. I know that I always say to myself, before I die, I just need to help as many people as possible.
Why? What was it about that
So
it gets you going? Because that's something I've seen it all the time.
Again, I just, for many reasons, and I think that if we're all better, then our population gets better and stronger, and as a people, we all function better. So that's a big part of it. If we can help these doctors to have less stress and pain inside their systems, that's another way that I'm doing something good, is I'm helping these people as well in there, you know. But ultimately, it's for the people. And I love that you asked me that question, because aside from the fact that I knew I can help people, because my mom wasn't the only one that I helped, because I had so much knowledge from such a young age. My friends, even when I was in the gym at an early age, so like even in the gyms, I had everybody ask me all kinds of different things, just because I kept helping different people.
Yeah.
And then I had different people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, so you helped my friend there, blah blah blah. What did you do?" So I would be giving them tips, and I had people coming up to me saying, "I had better results with you in 3 months than I did in a year with this trainer."
Yeah. And how did that make you feel? Because then you're kind of like, oh shit. So it's like a mini hard on. You're like, every time someone comes, you're like, yes, I got it.
It is pretty cool. So
You got to.
But when I saw what they were doing as well, it was a bit offensive, because people are paying you money. Be integral in what you're doing. So for me, that was a big part, is my integrity. Yeah. So I remember going back home, and I had told my ex-wife at the time, I said, the discrepancy in this business is horrible, and people don't know they're getting screwed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I need to change this.
It's so funny.
And that's it.
I had
The
a
rest is
similar,
history.
you know, that thing, there's a value system, I think, internally. And I think it was my dad that I used to see him at the garage when I was a kid. I used to go work with him. Was I never saw him fuck over a customer. Like, that was something like, and I remember he used to tell them straight, like, I don't want to fix your car because it's a shit box. I remember he said, I'm be stealing your money. Take this car, sell it, do what you need to do, like, or just you got to get another car, because for me, you're going to keep coming back with these same problems.
Voila.
Where he had a potential client that he could have kept on milking.
You got it.
And he didn't. He said, no, like, this is stupid, or this is a cheaper solution, go do this, or I'll fix it, right? But he was always thinking of that customer first.
Yeah.
In a real sense, not in the bullshit sense, like everyone says customer first, but it's just
Integrity.
about profits. So he had this integrity. And I'd always taken that, like, also on my end, when I was dealing with customers too, when I was in sales, it's like, I don't want to sell you something that doesn't work. I want to sell you something that makes your business better. And I never understood, even with coaching, because I do coaching, it's like, I don't want you to come and pay me to do coaching if you don't want to be here, if you don't want to, like, the key is that you want to help yourself, and I want to help you in the process. But I'm not going to take you on as a client if you're just coming here to spend money because it's a nice thing to do, you know? Because then I feel like I'm stealing from you.
Yeah,
but it is almost like that. Yeah, it is. And ultimately,
and that, even my students, they ask me this question. I get this one a lot. Is what made you so successful? And the first thing I always say is just my integrity. Like, just don't, if it's out of your realm, don't pretend.
Yeah.
Send, I refer people out when if it's out of my realm. Secondly, I don't do more than what the client needs.
Yeah.
We stay focused on what the client needs. So, there's an old saying, we have two ears and one mouth, so we should be listening more than we speak, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So like my whole 100% of my energy goes into my client every single time. So when a client walks in, there's nothing else going on for me.
Yeah.
I'm just paying attention to everything this client's asking or discussing with me.
Yeah.
And I just stay in that, and I stay focused on what I need to do, nothing more, nothing less. And when you refer out or you guide them with integrity like that, you know, the way I see it too is, I believe in karma too. So like I believe that that's part of why maybe people speak so well of me, is because, well, the guy is for real. Like, he's not pushing anything on me. He's not going anywhere else, and he couldn't help me with this, but he sent me to somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna speak well of me.
Yeah. Well, that's
Because you're the sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt, but at the end of the day, for me, it's about my client.
Yeah.
So even when they're in my office, the only thing that's on my mind is this is their time.
Yeah.
And
And
you
what
can't
can I
let
do
that
to
go.
help them get better?
You got it.
And I think that's the thing is a lot of people are, and I think that's what stuck out a lot from when the first time I met you, because I remember you were helping my sister-in-law, Marina.
Yeah.
And that's how I had heard of you. And a part of me was just like, Marina she was speaking so highly of you. I said, okay, let me see this fucking guy.
She's the sweetest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's the nicest person.
your family though. You're really good people.
Yeah,
man.
I have to admit, I was lucky. I'm lucky. I have like a really good group
Amazing.
of people in my family are just genuinely nice people. My dad, my brothers, my mom, everyone is genuinely nice people. And it doesn't happen often. Like I think I took that for granted also for a long time.
Right.
Because you assume that, like people would talk about them and their brothers and they're fighting all the time. My brothers and I never fought. I think my brother once,
amazing.
like he's
It's almost rare.
Yeah, it's people don't believe me because we're three boys in the house and we never fought. I think my
Unbelievable.
brother Joe slapped my brother Silvio once as a kid, and my dad smacked him just once, and he never smacked him again. It was just like, there's a rule of like, we don't fight in this house.
Amazing.
And it was just like, that's why when I hear stories of like brothers kicking each other's ass or like they don't talk,
What do
I'm
you
like,
mean?
what do you mean? How
What is
did
this?
what's going on? I didn't get it. So I was kind of closed to a world of that. And for her, she told me about you, and I said I came in, and then I felt that vibe too. It was like,
Right.
good people. There's
Thanks,
good.
man.
You could always feel when there's like a good intention, and I always felt that every time I walked into the office was, I have someone that's looking out for me.
You got it.
I think he's going to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And there's a big difference of wanting something and needing to hear the right thing that's going to help you. So I remember when we walked in and we had done, the tests and all that. And it's like, okay, you asked me, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? It wasn't, okay, well, you need to lose this. You need to do that. It was like, you asked me, we had a conversation.
You got it.
And I think that conversation helped me understand that that's really what's important. It's not
It's you.
the viewpoint of what I think health is.
That's right.
It's what's going to make you feel better.
And it's important because the more I listen to a client, the more I'm able to specifically help that individual.
Yeah.
Because if you're just staying focused on just doing the same thing for everybody, it doesn't work, because you're not your brother, you're not your other brother, you're not your father. I've had twins that I had to do things differently with. Imagine, right?
Yeah, you would figure it'd be something, at least the only group that would be the
Yes,
same
no.
shit. It's like, fuck, I got to think of something
You do
unique
this,
for
you do
everyone.
this. So, but it's just to show you how. So that's where it's important, and that's why I listen so much, because I know, even with my experience now, which way to direct this person to have this person achieve success. And in life, listen. This is one thing I repeat 100 million times a week inside my office. But don't be perfect.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. I've told you that.
Yeah.
Just be consistent. Stay in the groove of what you need to do.
Yeah, I
All
think that
will
was
work
the other thing
itself
too
out.
that I always enjoyed, is that I know there was some times where I walked in and I wasn't consistent, and you never made me feel like shit about it. Like, I think that, but that's important, because a lot of times people will make you feel like shit that you didn't do well. You were like, well, what happened? Like what happened? What changed?
Right.
Because clearly your mindset when we walked 3 months ago versus now, there's a shift.
Yep.
And instead of just focusing on what the results were, you were like, something is happening here.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
wanna
why
know
these
what happened.
results are like this. And then every time the results were better, you were like, well, what happened? What changed? And I did. And I remember even verbalizing that with you, reestablished some of the goals that I originally had
And your
reminded
patterns.
and the patterns, and I kept on realizing I had a fucking pattern. I kept on doing the same things, and over time now, like I don't drink anymore. If anything, I
Yeah.
have maybe one drink once in a blue moon. Whereas I realized that at one point it was like every Friday night was a drinking night. Like I
Right.
realized this pattern that kept on
I
this
remember that.
vicious circle where it was a Friday go out, Saturday recover from the night, Sunday, Monday start over. And then it was
It's
like
a,
go Monday to Thursday and slowly decrease till Thursday, get weak mentally, and then come back in and Friday. And it was this vicious circle wondering how come I'm not getting different results, but I'm doing the same shit every day,
you got it.
And so you helped me realize that throughout the years. But one thing I wanted to
Well, I just want to
yeah,
add something. It's because I don't believe in scolding. So, like, again, go back to the patterns of everybody has their own process. Everybody has to go through this differently. And I've seen that. I've seen people start well, gain, come back, and eventually they just scale down and maintain. I've had people like that who today, I started with them when they were just little kids, even 11 or 12 years old.
wow,
And today at 22, 23, they're strength trainers.
yeah,
They're actually training
that's
people.
amazing.
I've inspired them to do that. So a lot of them are my students. So it's just to show you that, and these people went through their ups and downs, like you were saying.
Yeah,
So I believe that anybody can do this, but everybody has their own journey.
yeah,
So my job is to make you realize what you're doing by helping you in your journey. It's not
exactly.
mine. I've had mine, and I still have my own things.
Exactly. I was just about to say that everyone is walking in with things you'll never know. No matter how much they tell you, there
Got
is
it.
a whole bag of shit that you will never even get an understanding of. And every night they go to bed with it, and every morning they wake up with it. So you'll never know what's really going on. And I find, even through coaching now, you just hope that they understand that there's all these things and how are they going to cope with them and get better at whatever it is that they want to do
Yep.
with those things now, and or whatever goals that they have. But one thing that I was thinking of, when you started the business, everyone now it's 15 years or 14, 15 years, like you were saying, professionally, and you have a client base and you have all these things. But I think a lot of times we forget how it started. And on your end, what were some of the biggest challenges or fears that you were thinking of when you said, okay, I'm going to go be a business owner now, and I'm
Yeah.
going to do this, and it's not really what people think are going to be successful, because they always think, I don't know how your
It's not
parents were,
easy.
but a lot of parents, it's like, go get a job, especially if you're immigrant parents. The
Right.
concept of job security was
Right.
the biggest thing. It's like, just go get an abona job. It's
Yeah.
like, just go get a job that pays
Work
you,
with
and
benefits.
work with benefits and all these things. And then you go a complete opposite route.
Completely.
Um,
And in an industry where people like my parents are like, "What are you talking about? You
You're
could
not a
actually do this
doctor.
for a living."
You're a doctor or what? Yeah.
Guess that goes. What is this?
When I said that I was going to sales, my parents were like, but are you not a lawyer, an accountant, or an engineer? I don't get it. What other job can you be, And so when you walk into that world, and how old were you when you decided I'm going to start this business?
Early 30s.
Okay.
So,
which a lot
yeah.
of people too are scared to take a chance
Oh yeah.
in their early 30s, because they're like, oh man, now, kids and all this stuff, like how am I going to pay the bills and all this stuff. So what were kind of the thoughts that were going on in your mind at that in your early 30s period?
Yeah, man. Honestly, like, such a great question, even for people to hear that one. But so I'm gonna try to give you this in the best way possible. But so it's first and foremost, yes. So what helped me is I did have prior businesses.
Okay.
So I was already a business owner in other ways, and
What did you do?
because I studied finance and economics.
Okay.
So I had actually started as a self-employed individual in the finance industry. I was a finance broker.
Okay.
So I was already at the time helping people invest money. I was doing life insurances, group insurances for people, for companies. So I was already, and I was like 21 years old when I started. So I did that for a few years. I had an import company as well at a point.
Pause for
Yeah.
a second, because you said you did it for a few years. Easy thing to keep doing.
Right.
Like not easy thing in the sense that the job is easy, but you're there for a few years and
Yeah.
you're probably doing well. I could see you doing well in it. Why
Nice.
change?
So what changed is, I guess I go back to, I just didn't feel it was what I wanted to do vocationally.
Yeah.
Business is something I didn't enjoy. That's why I had an opportunity to do some import. At the time, it was olive oil and oils and vinegars, which we bottled here. We imported and bottled and sold. And eventually, I was like, okay, you know what? That went not sour in the sense that the company went bad. There was like a dispute between some of the other
Partners
owners,
and
yeah, and the company just ended up splitting. So
what did you learn from that experience?
quite a bit, honestly.
Because a lot of people love the idea of partners, and me
Yeah.
too. I like the idea of partners, but then there's also the other side of it when it doesn't go well. Like,
Well,
and
what
I'm
I've
not, it's not to
learned,
talk negatively about other partner,
no,
but it's just like it's an experience. So what did you learn from that
a
experience?
lot, man. And one of the main things I've learned, which brought me a lot of experience and other things that happened to me later. So one of the main things I've learned is to thankfully I understood business at a young age,
Mm-hmm.
and because I've understood business and I saw the kind of relationships that you can have not only with clients but with your partners, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it helped me see things differently in my other partnerships with other businesses that I had as well.
Yeah.
And I was able to call out a couple things even very rapidly because I had the experience of seeing what one individual did in the past in terms of screwing us over.
Yeah.
So it helped me a lot in that aspect. So yeah, experience plays a huge role. A lot more than books, I could tell
Oh
you.
yeah.
That's for sure.
There's no better lesson than losing money.
Oh my
I
God,
like
man.
even investing or whatever it is, you think you're
Or
a hot
being
shot
hurt.
or being hurt, and because the pain
Leave
level.
scars.
Well, pain. It's really the true test is how painful it is.
Hmm.
It's not a question of how good it is. It's how painful is it.
Love it.
Tends to be the one that tells you if you're gonna make a change.
Yeah, make sure you remember those
Oh
scars.
man, the scars I've always found, people say, oh, it's a macho talk. No, no, but it is like a reminder. It's a badge of something you went through and you
Yep,
survived.
you got it.
And then you realize that,
And that's okay too.
and that's okay too.
Yeah,
Like I'll take as an
that's how we
example
learn.
an emotional badge. I guess is going through a divorce. I know for me at the time when it happened, it was like, holy fuck, what am I gonna do? And then like you feel like shit. You have to talk to your family about this now, and it's like all these different things that are being challenged.
Right.
So your pain level is going in so many highs in the
Correct.
sense of like from an emotional, from a family standpoint, all these things, financial, all these pains are hitting. So of course it will leave a mark on you. The question is what are you going to do about that
You got it.
versus just saying, I'm going to be in shit forever. So that
Can't.
pain level is, I find, usually what tells you whether or not you're going to make that change or
You're
learn a
bang on,
lesson.
man. You're bang on. And again, I tell you all the time. I love the way you express things. I love the way you just put that in context. It's exactly that. And like it's the same thing I tell my clients. Even last week, I did a master fat loss seminar, right? Mastering a fat loss. And these are things I'm explaining to people. Like sometimes people, they're always putting excuses in the sense that I had a bad month. I was stressed out. I went through a lot of things. Okay, but going through a lot of things doesn't mean you go eat 50 tons of pizza and smash your face
There's something
in
else here.
donuts and muffins.
Right.
Take a step back. Every day, the bottom line is the reality is you need to eat every day. So every day, no matter what, choose to eat what serves you and not what doesn't serve you.
Yeah.
And if you do that, already you're able to challenge things on a better level.
And something you told me is you don't have to, even if it's not every day,
You got it.
but if you do it, let's say out of the 7 days in a week, and 80% of the time,
Yeah.
you're better. So you fucked up 20%. You know what I mean? Out of all your meals, you fuck up 20%. You are still 80% better than what you were.
Yeah, man.
And I think that's the key, that people, like, they always have this perfection. I think they're obsessed
Or
with health
excuses.
or excuses, perfection. But perfection is usually the thing that will destroy the progress.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, if it's not perfect, then I'm not going to do it. Well, nothing is perfect.
You got it.
There's always going to be a
There's
fuck
no
up.
such thing.
The weather's going to suck today. That's why you're not going to exercise. There's no food in the fridge, or it looks like there's no food in the fridge, so
Yeah.
you're going to eat whatever fucking garbage.
Some people will eat garbage just because it's raining outside.
Yeah,
Guys.
I know. I'm an emotional eater. I know that, and I know for me that I know I'm not in a good state mentally by the way I eat. I could tell that there's something wrong with me, that I'm hungry at midnight and
Yeah.
I'm smashing a fucking spoon of peanut
But that's
butter.
a
like,
relationship that's been imprinted, right? So like what
fucking
happens?
Joe, my brother. That's his fault. I've been playing. He used to bring me out for a Whopper at 2 a.m. because he wanted one, and now I love eating
That's
late night
amazing.
because of him.
That's
Fuck.
really funny. But that's it. So I'm glad you just said that because that's where I was going. The thing is, it's been basically brainwashed into people. Okay, even funny enough, a lot of people don't know this, but when you look at even the evidence is like right in front of us. Okay, so when you look at the last even 60, 70 years, TV has done a huge job at brainwashing people.
Oh yeah.
So what happens is you watch even a sitcom, the marketing level in sitcoms is insane. Not only I'm not talking about commercials only.
Yeah, the
Look at the
product
show.
placement. Yeah,
Product
I know. I was
placement.
in marketing. I did
There you
marketing
go.
and TV for years.
Thank you.
That was the part of television that I was getting a bit irked with. Was just I knew the types of ads that would work really well at 2 a.m.
You got it.
Because
And that's why I want to have this conversation with you so that people hear what you have to say about this. Because sometimes people say, okay, this guy, he's just a conspiracy theorist. It's not conspiracy. It's we learned this in school. It's business.
It's business.
We learn it in school. And we even media is, I mean, especially a lot of them that are funded. For me, that's called propaganda. It's not even used anymore. So if it shouldn't be funded, you just say what it is. If I watch the Montreal Canadiens play, okay, as an example, and at the end of the game, I watched the journalists and the reporters talk about how the Habs, they lost 6-0. They came out flat. I saw the game. I know they suck. And what they do is they just say, instead they spin it another way to protect the Canadians.
Yeah.
No,
It's called what it is. They didn't play well. They didn't show up, and that's it.
Then I don't take you seriously, right? So it's the same thing with anything else. Now, because of that product placement, it's been brainwashed into people. So what happens? Look at sitcoms. Sometimes when you see a breakup, they're in a tub of ice cream.
Yeah.
But
and you think it's normal. Then.
Yeah, and you think that this is what you should be doing. But 500 years ago, there was no tubs of ice cream. When you had an emotional breakdown, what did you do?
You just went to work. Yeah. No, but like, the truth is,
we dealt with it better.
But you probably didn't even have the time to even think about the emotional because that's the biggest thing. Is a huge difference. I remember reading this. I don't remember which book it was, and the difference a lot of times with, let's say, our grandparents and ourselves is that they didn't have as much time to think. Like, that's the truth. Like, they just didn't have they had to walk to get to work, or they had to work 8 hours physically.
They were also better mentally prepared for a lot of things.
And they had hit they hit things. They were affected by things that had a real impact in a sense. Whereas,
man, I love that.
And I don't mean it that a breakup isn't a real impact, because this is where people take things into the wrong scope.
Correct.
Is that it has an impact.
Yeah.
But there's a difference when you don't have food and when you're going through a breakup. There's two different fucking things. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't have a feeling of protection and security, health and food and shelter, these are those basic things that once you have all of those pillars, then you get to a point of personalized, working on yourself and how you could be a better person.
100%.
But without those pillars, when I think of my grandparents, like, they didn't have a lot of those pillars. So that's why their thought of themselves or the self wasn't as important in a sense, because it wasn't a priority, because they had to feed their family or whatever it is.
My father is 84, and my dad grew up as a child during the Second World War, and my dad remembers how the Nazis would taunt him and insult them as a child. Imagine, he remembers this. And he remembers the poverty, especially post-war.
Yeah.
So when they grew up, and my dad came here, and this beautiful country that we have here, and hopefully things will get better soon. But you know what I mean, right? Yeah. So things were a lot better, and God bless. But a guy like my dad doesn't see things the way we do. No. And my dad is a perfect example, doesn't have these emotional breakdowns because he's seen the suffering.
Yeah.
My mom has gone through different sufferings, including cancer. This is why I have a lot of respect for people that go through like even cancer battles and they survive it. For me, I commend you, because only you can understand the fear. No one else can.
I had a fear. I never experienced a scare or a fear to the point where I was in the hospital because I didn't know if it was going to be cancer.
Crazy.
And I got the answer that it wasn't. And the relief, like, you don't understand, like,
bingo.
So I can't even imagine getting the answer that it is. Like, because I was waiting for months, doing tests and doing all these things. And then when they came back and they said, no, it's something hereditary, you don't have to worry about. A part of me was just like,
right?
Like, I remember thinking to myself, I could have walked out of that room with a completely different answer. Would have been, you have to go do fucking surgery now, a brain surgery, and do fucking spinal taps, and because these were all the options that they were listing at the beginning. And I remember just
nobody wants to go through that, man.
No one wants to go through, and even just the emotional roller coaster, because you have this assumption that you're going to make it for a long time. You know, I think that
Correct.
was the biggest wake up call is that,
Especially when we're younger.
bro, when
We
you're
think we're
younger,
invincible.
dude, when you're younger, do you ever think? Like, I have even friends of mine that are in their 40s now that still don't think
Yeah.
that the end is closer than they think. You know what I mean?
Maybe my thought process was a bit different just because of what I saw with my family.
Maybe.
To be fair, but you're not wrong.
I never thought, like, to be honest, well, I had two visions. I said, I want to be a rock star and hopefully I'm dead by 27 and be a legend. You know, like, I'm not going to lie. No, I was like, want to be Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, like, name them all. Hendrix, Job. Like, I had a poster, I remember in my room called Forever 27.
Now you just named some solid ones.
Yeah, I'll take a 27. I'll end at 27 if I could be Hendrix, you know? But it was a weird thing. And I remember when I know this sounds stupid, but when I didn't become a rock star and die by 27,
Right.
what did I do? You know, like, it was like a weird, okay, so I'm actually gonna be here for a lot longer.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden when that scare happened was like, no, it actually could end much faster and not as a rock star.
Yep.
And just as a regular, and it was like a fucking like a wake up call in the sense of, so what are you gonna do with your life? And once I got the answer that it wasn't, it became so what are you gonna do now?
Yep.
And I find a lot of times people need something to just remind them that there is a time limit. There isn't, it's not forever. So sometimes it's a health scare. Sometimes it's a thing that happens emotionally, a divorce, like who knows, whatever the story is, but
Could be so many things.
there could be so many things. And I think we don't realize that they're all just signs to help you figure out where you are here and what you're kind of meant to do, I guess,
Yes.
in a sense. And for you now with the business and with helping people and doing all these things, it feels like you keep on expanding.
Yeah.
You don't stay in that same spot. Like you start off as a trainer, as an example.
Yeah. Started up as a strength coach.
A strength coach, right? And then now, dude, if I look at your fucking credentials, a strength coach is still there. But I mean, there's like a web of other things.
Yeah.
Catering from naturopath, from massage now. I know you're doing seminars. So as this thing keeps growing, what are you seeing now, like, that's piquing your interest or getting you even more curious?
So and I also teach nutraceuticals for a laboratory.
Okay.
I do.
See what I'm saying? There's always every time I talk with you, there's always another credential that comes in.
You got it. So like, but it's all passions and different things. And again, I go back to like the more you do, the more it spreads, right? So the web spreads, and the more people you can actually help. So if things are done appropriately, then more people are doing proper things, then more people are getting proper help. So it's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
So nobody knows this, but I know this is going to go out in a few weeks, which I should be okay to say this. I spoke to my partners last night too.
So I'll make sure this comes out when you tell me. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's like,
Before it comes out too early.
It's gonna be good. They're like, yeah, just make sure. I'm like, yeah, we're good. So we're gonna probably be announcing this in the next 2 weeks anyway.
Okay, cool.
It's just
I definitely won't be ready in 2 weeks.
Okay, perfect. So what's happening is that, again, go back to helping people in multiple different facets. And for many years, I've been trying to find a way, because oftentimes clients tell me they don't have time for certain things. They don't have time to make specific things. They could be overwhelmed in certain days, certain weeks. Do you know a good meal prep company?
Mm-hmm.
And my answer is always no, because I don't know what ingredients they're using in these other companies.
Okay.
So I wanted to always offer this to my clients, but I'm not going to be the one going in the kitchen and pumping 100 meals a day. It's not possible for me. You also need proper kitchen. You need proper chefs to do these things.
Yeah, it's a whole other system. It's a whole other world.
It's completely. So to do it right, I needed to partner with the right people. And luckily for me, I ended up getting this client who is a master chef in the industry in Montreal.
Okay.
Both of them are quite renowned, actually. They're both chefs, my two partners. And eventually I'll say who they are. I'm not going to do that here today.
Okay.
But they are... we sat down, we went back and forth. I told them the ideas of how I want to do this and how the meal prep company is going to be different, because we're putting very clean ingredients.
Okay.
So it's about to kickstart shortly, and we're going to launch it in about 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
So you've touched a lot of stuff, and then now you tackled food, and food is its own beast, like you had said. Mm-hmm. There's physical exercise, but you can exercise a lot, but if you eat like shit all the time, It's not that it doesn't matter exercising, but it's kind of like cutting off all of
Foundation is your nutrition.
you know what I mean? If you eat better and exercise less, we're probably better than exercising more with shitty food.
You got it.
I would assume.
What I tell people oftentimes is two things I say to people. Okay, let me know how much muscle you can put eating muffins versus a steak.
Yeah.
And secondly, the second analogy I give people is I don't put water in my car, right? So if you put water in your car, there's a chance it's gonna break. Actually, it's 100%
Yeah, I
chance.
was saying your chance is pretty fucking high. So you're not a
guaranteed.
mechanic.
No, it's guaranteed that it's gonna break. And there's probably even gonna be things that are gonna happen in the meantime. So that's the same thing with human health. You need nutrients in the body for your body to operate and do things properly. The only way you get nutrients is through nutrition.
Yeah.
So rather than putting empty calories in your body, that's why I tell people before, when you're eating, when you look at food, look at it and say, does it serve me? Yes. Yeah. Then eat it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't serve you, don't touch it.
That one question, I think people think, oh, what's that going to change? It changes a lot because now you've made a decision and you decided, fuck it, I'm still going to eat it. Or maybe I'll find something else. Mm-hmm. And that 1 second determines how serious you are about whatever journey that you think you're on. You know what I mean? Like, if this is really that important, and you ask that one question, is it going to help me or is it going to hurt me?
Yep.
You know, that's honestly the only question you need to ask.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what smoking was for me. I smoked for like 10, 15 years. And then when I stopped smoking almost 15 years ago now, 14 years ago, 2011.
Amazing.
You know, when I stopped smoking, I remember smoking my last cigarette January 7th or January 9th, one of those two, 2011. And I remember going to work smoking, and I knew it was the last cigarette I was going to smoke because I just couldn't understand why the fuck am I smoking? I'm not getting high. I'm not even having fun. You know what I mean? At least if you smoke a joint, you right. At least you enjoy the feeling of it. You know what I mean? You have fun for a few hours, but you literally smell like shit. You feel like shit. It's costing you money. Like I remember right. when I was listing everything out, I just couldn't find a pro. I couldn't find a pro to it. It was just cons. And once that happened, and all it was really not that I physically changed, I had mentally changed about what this was to me. So I feel like, you know, if you just ask that one question even, this is going to help me or hurt me if I eat this.
That's it.
It's a game changer. Just that one question means you're actually aware of what's happening.
Be accountable
and then be
doing.
accountable on the decision.
You're the only person who's responsible of everything that you do. Yeah. So it's what I tell my daughters, right? So you can't always point fingers. You have to, even when my daughters tell me they got into an argument with somebody, something happened, my first question all the time is, but what did you do?
Yeah.
It's not because you're my daughter means you're right.
Yeah.
You know, and this is a mentality that was brought to me. Yeah. Same thing with my parents. When I got home, and sometimes they would get a call. This is what happened. So, well, this is what happened. My father never said, "Oh, I'm gonna come and beat up the other guy."
My mom was never on my side. She never once. She's like, you know, her answer was, for all the times you got away, you got fucked.
There you go.
Now you detention. Stay. You know, you learned the lesson. And to be honest, in one sense, like I wanted my mom to help me out, but it was like I realized that she was like, "This is your own battle. Like, you have to figure it out."
And that's okay
without
too.
realizing it, I learned a lot from understanding that sometimes you get fucked and you gotta take it. You gotta take that punch, whatever it is, and just move on, and that's it.
I tell my girlfriend the same thing when I'm having these conversations with my daughters. Like sometimes it's a battle they need to do. So they gotta deal. They gotta do their own thing. Otherwise, what am I teaching?
Yeah.
They can't. I'm there for them, 100%. They know that. They see that every day. But at the same time, I'm an individual who wants to teach my daughters to be strong, independent women.
Can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. Did things change for you? And I'm sure, I'm not going to say I'm sure, but having kids, how did that impact you from a business perspective? Mm-hmm. Like, did it help you? Did it like focus? Like, did it have any impact at all? Because I know my daughter, for me, the moment I had a kid, it was like it changed my perception on so many things.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you had that same experience.
Instantly. It was instantly like even hearing the cries and having my firstborn like in my arms as she was born. Like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but there's I think for generally speaking for all parents there's like a difference in thought process that's pretty immediate. And I immediately understood that it's intuition and it's nature. This is what it is, and my whole protection. I think even for us men, I'm gonna say a lot of what we do is. I remember even Jerry Seinfeld had said this once on his show. Oh my God, what's it called?
Which one? Curb Your Enthusiasm? Or?
No, comedians in cars,
Comedians in Cars.
getting coffee, right? So he's like, it's just like a programming that goes on. So it's like, are you okay? You safe? It's all right. Work. You okay? Go to bed the next day.
Yeah.
And it's like you're on repeat, and
Yeah.
it's like you're just making sure everybody around is all right all the time.
For me, same thing. Like I found the moment I had my daughter, there was a clarity of one, this is my tribe now. Like this is my tribe.
You
like,
got it.
and I need to take care of the tribe. Like,
And it's like,
yeah, it's like you want to protect, you want to help, but you don't want to like over protect.
Correct.
It's you just want to make sure that you position things in the best for them.
yeah,
But the other thing too that I learned is sometimes you got to do shit you don't want to do.
yeah.
And every day, like
It's
you know
what
what?
it is.
I don't want to clean this diaper, but I need to clean her ass.
Yeah.
I need to clean her. Like
You're responsible.
I'm responsible, and it really just changed something about being accountable and being more like, what are my priorities?
It's like a
And I found it shifted so many things in my life of like, this is not important. Aria, out.
right.
This is important. Okay, how do I get better at this then? You know,
You
it's
got
like
it.
I found it helped really shape a lot of my decision making process. Now I'm not saying, okay, go have a kid to be a better decision maker.
No.
But it's about having something that's important to you. And I
Yep.
think that's one thing that I always took from you, is that this was important for you. So that's why you made decisions. And for me, like the podcast, it's important. The kids are important. And then you start finding ways to incorporate this in your life so that it balances. You know, people say, oh, you can't balance. I don't believe that. It's not that you can't balance. You can't balance things that aren't actually important to you. You have to remove those and then try to find a balance of the things that are important to you.
You got it. What's the sentence I tell people a lot is you have to schedule your priorities.
No.
Okay, so like put in your schedule what is your priority,
Yep.
and make sure that that's there. Even workouts. And I lost count how many clients have told me, Mauro, since I've been putting it in my schedule,
It's hard to say no.
it's
when
hard
you
to
see
say
it.
no when you see it. So, and then they get hooked on it.
Yeah.
And even for women, God bless them, same thing. Women, I think for a lot of them, when they have children, they completely forget about themselves and
Yeah.
abandon themselves. And I'm constantly giving them reminders in my office as well. It's like, God bless you. I think it's, again, an intuitive thing that you're doing, but you're forgetting yourself.
Yeah. You
And
can't lose yourself.
You can't lose yourself. So even if it's 30 minutes,
Yeah. Well,
take that time for yourself.
Most like my girlfriend had, you know, issues with that, of just feeling like not who am I, but where am I at this point? Like, it's like you kind of like, you're here, but you're not putting the time into yourself the way you would normally do it, because you have like a mom guilt.
Yep.
In a sense, you know. And a lot of women that I've spoken to, especially younger moms, at the beginning, it's this battle they've told me of just like they just don't put time for themselves. And
Yeah.
then, you know, as guys, sometimes we don't realize that because we didn't have that, I guess, the physical connection. It's more all emotional, and
Right.
we're there, and in the baby, we see it.
We
only
can't
now.
understand
We
what-
can't understand
that's
that.
right.
Never gonna fucking
Impossible.
understand that. But it's like you have a different relationship, but they've had a relationship 9 months in advance, you know, from
Right.
yours, and a physical one that you can never replicate.
Never. But wouldn't you say, though, that that's in part why we're also so protective of our women, too?
Yeah.
The fact that we saw them go through that. Like, I remember even my mom was like, it's like his temple.
Yeah.
You know, like in the house, I grew up with two older sisters. And in terms of tasks in the house and the way I spoke to, let's say, girls and stuff like that, my dad didn't take that shit. Like, it was...
It was important to respect that.
Yeah. If you raised your tone a little bit to his wife, he would say, not even your mother.
No, thank God my dad wasn't around, because
Man.
my dad was always working, so I was not good when I was a kid. I was a dick, to be honest. But I know I was, because I was spoiled. Like,
Right.
I acknowledge that I was lucky that I had my brother Joe and Sylvia that were like almost uncles because of the difference in age.
Right, right.
So I had them protecting me. I would fuck around all the time. I was causing a mess. I thought I was a rock star, so I had to break every rule possible. So I was a shithead when I was a kid.
Right.
And then as I got older, I realized, oh, I'm a dick. I'm a dick. Like I don't need.
Maybe I need to change some
maybe I need to
things.
change some things because like I feel it because I didn't even feel good about doing these things,
Right.
but I just thought it was how you do them. You know,
You
like,
got it.
and then over time, I realized, like, nah, I actually
But it's
enjoy
part of maturing too,
exactly,
right?
definitely. That's what I'm saying. Is like when I was a kid, I didn't have that same thing. I was like, fuck you to everything, you know, like.
But what's that say about our parents, right? Like that old school. I still feel like a lot of it, like for me, there's like a lot that I left,
Yeah.
but there's a lot that I took too, especially the values that people don't even take time to teach anymore. I see kids on kitchen tables with their devices, and I'm not there to judge, but in my house, I don't allow it. I want to hear my kids speak.
No.
I like listening to my daughter speak. I enjoy it. It's something
It's
I
not a
take-
bother.
No.
I love that we don't really make Xana watch any TV. She's like she's 2 years old now, 2 years and
Yeah,
a bit.
yeah.
She doesn't watch
Love
any
the
TV.
name. I always told you that.
Thank you.
Pretty cool.
Like I love that she doesn't really watch TV. Not because it's like I'm trying to prove a point. It's I want her to know that you
But
can't.
interaction.
I'm never gonna stop the screen from being part of her life. It's just part
It's
of our
what it
lives.
is.
We all addicted to
Of
it.
course.
But I want to just postpone it a bit. That's
Yeah.
all it is. I want to postpone it for as
But
long as
teacher
so she can
interaction.
talk to us and want to be at the table to talk to us.
And she should be able to always feel my parents. I could always talk to them.
Exactly.
My daughters don't hesitate to talk to me.
Yeah.
Never.
That's what I hope for. To be honest, I don't hope for her to be this perfect kid. I hope that when things aren't good, she feels like she can come home
That's important.
and talk to us about it.
You got it.
That's it. Like
But
honestly,
you're
'cause-
doing that.
But
You're doing that. I'm
I
telling
can't-
you. I know you're doing
How
that.
the fuck am I gonna understand a 14-year-old girl? Like, no, but I'm just being like, I'm never gonna understand what she's thinking. But I want her to know that if
She can talk to you.
She could come home, and that I'm not gonna judge her.
There you go. I
From
have
what she
one
is.
that's close to being 18.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my second one is 14. And the fact that they feel comfortable to come up to me and literally sometimes they even text me, Daddy, I want to talk to you about something tonight. Yeah, man, no problem.
Of course, yeah.
I love that relationship, but that doesn't happen if they're always on a screen on a kitchen table.
And it's not gonna happen at 18. It's gonna happen because you were there at
Yes.
2. You know what I mean? Like
They've always saw that.
Yeah.
Dude, it's important. And for me, like, it's part of connectivity. Like, we're losing that.
Yeah.
And it saddens me because we're seeing the repercussions of that.
Yeah.
There's too many blocked and weak-minded individuals. So you have, in order for things to get better and stronger, values are the backbone to our society. You can't even say thanks after opening a door anymore.
Well, it's just the idea, I think, of things that I think we took for granted. I think those are
You got
things that
it.
we took for
Man, well
granted. We
said,
didn't think they
man.
were important. And there's like a new etiquette that's come in with technology. It's like a perfect example. You know, it's an awkward feeling if you give someone your phone and they
Right.
start scrolling through your pictures, right? Because you're like, "Fuck, what is that?" You know, you never know
what
what's.
are you
Yeah, just two to the right and two to the left, but don't go further than that. You know, so there's a weird
Just
like
go
new
here.
edit. Yeah, actually, don't even scroll shit. Just fucking look at the picture I told you. Give me back my phone. But it's weird because it's
Yeah.
so personal,
That's
right?
right.
So that's why it's like giving that phone. So there is this weird new etiquette that's there that we all understand. But I never understood this idea of because something is new, forget old. It's like no, take what was the best out of the old
Let's
and
get
bring it
better.
into the new.
Yes.
And make it better and adapt to something new. Like
As it should.
It's like just build off better. It's kind of like New Year's resolutions. I don't understand the concept of fuck last year. No, it's like
It's just a day
build off
later.
last year and just get better this year.
The
And-
only difference is one day.
exactly. It's so this is the concept that I think
Or
a lo-
when people say, they see me on Wednesday, say, okay, but I'm only going to start Monday.
Yeah.
No, you should start yesterday.
Yeah. or now. Just
Yeah,
why don't you
like,
just start
what are you doing?
now.
Wha-
Exactly.
What's with the Monday thing, right? So, man, look, at the end of the day, like like I was gonna say, is that if we can just go back to bringing more of these values, and this also adapts to what we've been speaking about from the beginning, which is what I do is in prevention. If values have a lot to do in what
Yeah.
we do in terms of our health.
Yeah.
So for me, that's part of my values is taking care of myself. You were saying before too, like I've gone through my share of things. Sometimes people look at me and I have clients that tell me, "Yeah, but you're steel." Okay, in what sense? Because
This is what you saw, the half an hour of me right now.
yeah,
Like, this-
I'm also a person,
Yeah.
like everybody else. You don't know the challenges I've been through.
No.
I know what I've been through, And in certain times in my life, it was very, very difficult. But I wasn't gonna crumble and show my kids that I'm a weak father.
Yeah.
I refused to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't call my friends while I was going through these emotional things. Hey guys, I need to go get wasted, and I need to smash like 15 subs.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. It just didn't connect with you. That
my
way you were,
mentality
yeah.
doesn't go there. So I kept just doing what I needed to do. I kept eating my steel, and I know that helped me. And I kept staying in the motions, and I'm like, okay, every day is I'm gonna battle. I'm gonna keep punching through, but at the end of this fight, I'm gonna win it.
And there's an element where people say, "Well, I don't feel motivated to do it," and I hear you because it's tough. Because motivation has kind of been sold that this way that to get something done, you need to be motivated to do it. But sometimes, most of the time, actually, the action creates motivation.
Yes.
And it creates something because you're seeing. Just take the action of doing something, even if you're not sure if it's right. Just do it, and then you'll know how you feel about it, and then that will help motivate you to make a decision for the
Yep.
next one. But if you just go based on I'm waiting for that emotion for motivation to kick my ass to get started, the chances of you being successful or not success, fuck, I don't like that word, but the chances of you actually moving forward in whatever it is that you want, it's probably not going to happen because you're waiting for this perfect scenario to get started. And there is, like, ultimately, it always comes back to this: there is no perfect
There
scenario.
is no the perfect
Just
timing is now.
is now. It's always now because
Oh,
you don't
you
know if
got
there's
it.
a tomorrow. That's
Yes.
that's the ultimate truth.
And then in terms of motivation, another thing that I tell people, if you need motivation, look around you and look at the people that are fighting for their lives and or fighting illness.
Yeah.
If you've never been in a hospital,
Visit one.
then yeah, visit one, and thankfully maybe you didn't have to go through that. and
Hopefully
see
you're
that.
visiting.
Yeah,
and you're not
hopefully just
staying.
yeah, exactly.
That's I think the biggest takeaway. Seeing recently, even a buddy of mine, his dad passed. Chris, his dad passed, and it's tough. It's tough to watch that stuff, and
Yeah, man.
and it's hard on everybody, and everything. So
You
it's
got it. And that's listen. If you need a source of motivation, that's it. My motivation every day is fear of ending up in a hospital.
Yeah.
There's nothing that motivates me more than staying away from that.
as long as possible.
Yeah, man.
It's as long as possible.
My dad tells me recently. He says he's proud of me, right? So he says I'm proud of not only the individual that you became. He goes, but how? He goes because a lot of people recognize him and they say, "Hey, you're Mauro's dad." And my dad's like, he goes, "You helped this person with this." He's at a clinic. He's waiting, and people are like, "Aren't you Mauro's father?" So it says how much I've helped in the community.
Yeah.
So my dad's proud to hear that, and he
Yeah.
says, "At least I know my son is doing good in the world, right?" And he says, "I'm happy to see that you're still lifting the weights." He goes, "Because he had bought me." Real quick story. So every time I passed a grade in elementary school, my dad would say,
Bought you a dumbbell.
"Yeah, yeah."
You lift harder now.
That's it. Come on,
Come on, you can do it.
So my dad would be like, "What do you want me to get you?" So he'd buy me a toy, right?
Yeah.
So when I was 11, I told my dad, "Is like I don't want a toy this year." I said, I want a dumbbell set and a bench and a." So my dad's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I want to train and I want to get better for my
I just
sports."
watched Predator and fuck it. I want
Exactly,
get
right?
ripped.
Commando, carrying logs. So and I was like, okay, I'll buy it for you, but I want to see you do this. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do it. That first time I trained, that feel, I'm still hooked on it.
Yeah.
I'm still addicted to that feel. So every day every time when I go to train, I still look for that feel, and it makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
So I told my dad, I said, 100%. I'm glad you're saying that. He goes, I go, Papa, like, for me, it's a lifelong thing. I said, if I'm 90 and I'm
Yeah, I can still
deadlifting,
live.
right?
Yeah.
And I said, if I die in the gym deadlifting, I'm gonna die with a smile.
Yeah.
But at least I died my way.
Exactly. I think that's the part that people don't realize is that you're gonna go anyways. So at least go the way you want. As
got it.
close doing the things that you want to do up
And
to
do
that point.
right as much as possible. As much as possible. And I told my daughter the same thing. In life, just every day, just do good.
Yeah.
That's it.
It'll work itself out. Don't
got
worry
it.
about don't worry about the means to the end. Just the end is be good.
You got it.
If you do that, everything else will find its way.
You got it.
Like I know you guys gotta head out. Busy all the time, but if I usually leave this spot for guests to kind of like, how do you want to end this? What do you want to leave people that if they're watching this or anything like that, how you want them to remember you from this conversation?
Yeah. I guess, well, number one, how both of us are very real. I think real is important. That the people see real again. There's a lot of stuff out there that is very fake, and people are being taken away from that. Okay, so like I think being real first and foremost, but most of all is that I'm hoping that people get that appreciation of where I come from, and understand that everything I do is with truth and integrity. And I wish nothing but the best for everybody. Um, you know, I finish my seminars by telling everybody all the time is that what I wish for us all is that we all age old all together very well and strong. This is like something I'd love to see, right? So I do everything I can to help my clients and my community.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man.
Mauro, honestly, thank you so much for coming by. It was great. You know, we always have great conversations in your office, but I'm happy that you came into my office today.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having us.
Oh, it was a pleasure to have you come over and to tell me more about stuff like I didn't know about you. You know what I mean? There's stuff in there that obviously I knew because we had great conversations in the past, but seeing how passionate you are about it and getting deeper into those conversations was a fucking pleasure on my side. So I just want to say thank you. Man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Anybody, Mauro, if somebody wants to follow or contact or something like that, what are some of the ways they can communicate with you?
Honestly, pretty much in any social media except TikTok. So
you're not gonna start pulling some dance moves?
No. I could dance pretty well though. Yeah. But what I could tell you is, I mean, Facebook.
Yeah. What's the socials like?
Instagram.
Just Mauro Simonetti at Evolve. Like, what are the best ways?
My name is even on Instagram. I know a lot of people are on that trying to reach out to me these days. So Mauro Simonetti Evolve.
Okay.
And my websites. Which is Evolve Montreal.
Well, I'm going to put everything in the links in the description, but definitely, you know, if you're looking to contact Mauro, like, and you have questions or about anything that we spoke about, or you want to get into contact because you want to help get better, help get healthy or whatever it is, give him a call, connect with him online through socials or through his website. And definitely, I'm going to speak, like, I've been a client of Mauro's for years, and I've seen a big difference in my life, and even how I look at food and how it's changed my perspective on my health. So I think that's over the last few years, especially, I think that's more important. I guess also as I get older with a family and everything, I want to make sure I'm around for as long as possible.
Of course.
So I'm a believer, and that's why I wanted to bring you on. Is so hopefully more people can see that, and hopefully we can help you out, man.
Thank you, and I'm also proud of you. And God bless, man, for everything. Honestly, thanks for having me here today. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
My pleasure. That's it.
Alrighty.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Thank you, dude.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, man. This is great.
And you want to come in? We'll take a shot. We've had someone here the whole time watching, guys. We'll pull a little move. Oh, I got you.
She fits inside the net.
Thank you. I'm happy.